Hello everyone, welcome. This is part 3 of my color along out of Mythographic Deep Blue. So this is the newest Mythographic out so far. We are working on this page, so if you are interested in seeing the background or the wood, it is in part 1 and part 2. For those of you following along and joining in, the only thing I did off camera was the swirls that were on the page. I painted white with just straight acrylic paint. I use white apple barrel, just white matte. I do not use gloss. And a super fine tip paintbrush, which I left out to show, and then I think, oh, right here. So, and a super fine tip paintbrush. I also did a quick layer of sand on the ground just so you didn't have to watch me color that whole section, and then we can shade it together. So I'm going to attempt to finish this page up for the most part in part 3 here, but if not, we will carry it over to 4, no worries. So I'm going to pull in a little, and I think we will start with the barrels down here. Alright, so for the barrels, I am going to use dark brown, sepia, and light umber. For the wood part anyway, and then I will have some grays as well. So the sepia is going to be my shadow color, so it's going to be the slots in between, right up against the tin or aluminum or whatever you decide to make the color going around your barrel here. I am trying to use a fairly sharp point. So I'm going to shade the inside here as well. And it's easier to add more than take away. So if I'm just going to do the slots and things and under this, and then if I need to go back and darken after I get my other 2 colors in, I can do that. All right. I'm going to turn this a little because that was not a very straight line there. So I personally am not doing my wood the same color as my building at all. I just don't want them to look the same. Do not color your seaweed like I did either, because green does not go over brown well. Okay. So then I'm going to take my dark brown. Everywhere I put that sepia, I'm going to add this dark brown. All right. Then I'm going to take the light umber, and with the light umber, I am going to shade in the direction of the wood grain. I'm going to come in with my sepia. And now I am kind of putting my shadow in with the direction of the wood grain now that I know where I want my darkest to be. And if you want one more highlighted color on your barrels, you can add goldenrod. Would work great too. If you want one darker, dark umber, espresso. You could even do black, which I may do in the deepest spots. Pardon the noise. So I will, at the very end, I will come in right next to there and in the deepest slots and add that in. So let me quickly get my dark brown pulled in here. Remembering to leave room for my highlight color. I am going to go a little darker toward the bottom down here because it's hidden between the rocks and the grass. Make sure I'm on camera here. I have a bad habit of sliding around sometimes. Again, my light umber is always raw umber, light umber, raw umber. It's always going to go in the direction of the wood. And this is actually might be light umber in the Prismacolor set because I do believe this one's a Scholar. Okay, I'm gonna fix. This eraser is about due for a new battery. Okay. So then again, just back with the sepia a little bit. Kind of get them lines darkened up. And then I will lightly take that black and work around the inside of the barrel here. If you want to add a little green to this, like algae, like we did the building, you could totally do that too. Up to you. Okay, back in with the sepia again, trying to do this quickly so I can touch on a little bit of everything here. And then again that black. And I will blend that black out. So it will look more like that once I get it all put together here. I'm going to clean up my barrel a little bit. And then I'm going to pull 70% cool gray, medium cool gray, which these are almost the same color, so, and 10% cool gray, and then my black. So I'm going to start with my 70% cool gray and the very edges. Now on these silver parts, I want to keep my highlight across them equal. I don't want one highlight up here and one down here because it's going to look like the glare on the barrel is weird if we do that. So we do, wherever we want to highlight on these, we want to keep it centered across all three. Okay, 10%. And even if you get a little brown on it, it works out because it ends up looking like a little bit of rust, and we are underwater, so. Okay, and then again, I'm going to take just a little black on the very edges. Just so that has a little more dimension to it. And then this is the medium, or the 70% cold, sorry. And then the medium, I will kind of. Okay, if you want your highlight to be a little brighter, you just go over it with your 10% again. You can also use a white pencil. But that will be our barrel. And I intentionally left this part just because this part is going to be a little bit tedious. So I put in my light umber, coming back with the sepia, darkening up all the dashes in the wood and the rim, and right next to that. So that is going to be how I do both the barrels. So I'm going to do mine the same colors. Moving over to the grass here, I pulled apple green and grass green. So what I will do is I will start at the bottom of all of these with the grass green. kind of any shadow areas I run into. If you want to add one darker color like dark green, you certainly can. That would look great too. Okay, and then this is apple green. Spring green works well too. I am not doing this seaweed color because this up here is seaweed, so to me this is more the grass, like the western prairie kind of grass, so I am doing them a more grassy color. My cactus I am going to bring a little turquoise into to kind of bring in that sea feel, but for down here I really want to stick with the grass feel. To sharpen this real quick. All right, so there is my grass all finished up. So I'm gonna quickly knock this cactus out of the park. I am going to use, pardon the noise, aquamarine, and I'm just gonna touch on the dents in the cactus. I'm not gonna color the whole thing with it. If you want a more greenish cactus, you can stick with the grass green and apple greens and whatever cactus color. But I want this one to be a little more of a sea cactus. So again, if you missed this part, I based this with pale sage on the first video when I did the sky, just so I could show that I was going to bring that color down, because I never use a color once on a page if I can help it. So this color is sap green light, and I'm just kind of blending the darkers together, still leaving that highlight. Just kind of, not really a rhyme or reason, just making sure I hit the dark spots so that my highlight will stand out a little better. So again, pale sage, aquamarine, and sap green light for the cactus. And then I will just come back in with that pale sage. I may even add a tiny dot of chartreuse in a couple spots, just so it doesn't get lost. This color looks a little bright, but again, my pale sage, I wanted to say pale sap, and I knew that wasn't right. My pale sage will tone it down quite a bit. Okay, so we will blend this out. Now for the spikes on the cactus, I do want them to look sharp and pointy. So whether you use a white gel pen or something sparkly or a yellow gel pen, I would accentuate your spikes somewhat so that they don't get lost as well. I pulled a Moonlight Jelly Roll. This is the neon yellow, and I might want to go green. My colors aren't dark enough for white to stand out, but I might want to pull the green one. Let's see, 1 second. Okay, so slight change of plans because I didn't like either of these colors. This is just a Dollar Tree Sparkle gel pen, and I'm using the light green out of it to do my spikes. When it's all said and done and dry, I will probably take my tiny white paintbrush and see about, because I know cactus spikes are white, I will probably dot the ends of the spikes so they look a little more kind of cactusy. Adding glitter. You could also just do pencil and add the white dots. You don't have to use a glitter gel pen. So that is going to be my cactus venture. Let's see, what do we want to tackle now? Let's do, so I was thinking about it in the rocks down here. If you wanted to get really creative, you could do these like pink and purple and blue, like the rocks in a fish tank. They make all kinds of little castles and buildings and logs for fish. So this could actually be inside a fish tank if you wanted to look at it that way. So you could do these all kinds of colors. I haven't decided on mine. I will probably just do them rocks as I have a real western scene going, but don't be afraid to get creative with that. So I'm going to try not to smear my cactus. This is chartreuse, and I'm going to make sure I'm on camera here. And I'm going to color this whole little seaweed with a base layer of chartreuse. I am mainly doing this so I can see where all my seaweed is first and where it is overlapping, because it gets kind of hectic up there. So I think that is all my seaweed. So this one I will do the same. Again, trying. My cactus is going to take a minute to dry because I did polka dots on the paint, so it's a thicker. It is quick drying paint, but not when you do dots like that. They do take a little longer to dry. Okay, I'm going to take the aquamarine like we did down here. We're not going to go for the same color, but, and this I still need to blend, but, and I'm going to shade my dark areas with this. I really like the color combo these two colors make together. One second. Sorry about that. Forgot to mute my phone every time. I finally remembered to put this one on Do Not Disturb. Now I need to remember the other one. But anyways, just shadowing here all the parts I think would be darker or want to stand out a little against everything else. And then I will kind of go back and smooth that out. This is the green apple like I did down here. So I'm not using a whole lot because I don't want to lose my chartreuse bright color. I skipped an area here. But I do want to add just a touch more green so it has a little more green feel to it. And then I will come back up here and kind of play with the colors and the shading. If you want one darker color, cobalt turquoise is a beautiful dark turquoise color that will really add some depth to your shadows there. So you can kind of blend your way up to the chartreuse if you want to do it that way. These things behind it, I have no idea what they are. I'm not gonna lie. I could probably Google them, but I didn't think to do that before I started this video. And that was probably off camera. But we are going to color them red. So I'm going to, again, base layer. feels weird to do this much base layering because I never base layer this much, but in Mythographic sometimes there's so much going on that the only way you can figure out what is if you add a little bit of color so you know what you're working with. Now we got to be careful because this red that I'm using here is the color I used on the bottom of my sky, and we don't want to lose this. So this is my lightest color. I'm going to add some darker colors to it. Now this would be pretty as purple too, if you are more of a purple kind of person. I might shadow with some purples. But I'm just going to do one of these so you can kind of see my plan here. So I need to find, just go ahead and work with this red. This is Crimson Red, so that one was Poppy Red. So Crimson Red is my next darkest. So I'm kind of working under the ledge here. Under the ledge of all those, where she kind of has it looking a little deeper and sunk in. These white lines, by the way, up here, I will come back after and kind of skinny them up and straighten them up and kind of like that. I just didn't have time before the video started. And then I will blend those out so you won't see that I went around the white, even though it kind of looks better that way. So yeah, just felt like I would point out why those are looking a little weird because they're unfinished. Okay, so I feel like maybe this one right here. Try them on camera here. And I wish my eraser wasn't dead. Let me try my big one. These are the same eraser. I just got tired of switching, so I have a big tip in one and a tiny tip in the other. I should invest in a rechargeable battery or eraser. I haven't yet. Okay, so again, I'm gonna fix that one because I feel like it looks more like seaweed than it does the red thing behind it, whatever that red thing may be. So again, playing with some apple. And then I will blend all together with the chartreuse. Make everything nice and smooth. Okay, now we're back to the red thing. Okay, this red is a pomegranate, so it's a little more of a darker purpley red, and I'm going to kind of add it to my shadow areas here where I want a little darker. So filling in the shadows, pomegranate. Okay, if you want to bring in orange, you can do that as well, but I'm going to blend with my poppy red. And if there's any lines you feel like you missed or you want a little darker, just go over with your pomegranate. Trying not to get that seaweed that I just took my time on. Okay, again, just kind of adding the texture in with the pomegranate over the top. Sorry about that. Okay. And when I do that, I can definitely see where I need to add some shadows so things are not blended together. That will be how those are going to look. I'm not going to add a whole lot of detail or sparkle because, again, I want this to be my main focus. I am going to come down here with Tuscan Red. Let's push up, down a little here on these curtains. So that is Tuscan Red. I'm going to put Crimson Red right over the top of where I put that dark. And then I'm going to blend it all with the poppy. Now it doesn't look like much right this second, but I just had to get my beginning base layer kind of shadow feels in. I will come back with the Crimson Red, kind of deepen those out. Get a nice curtainy feel going on there. So again, poppy red on this side. And then we will add some life to those. Kind of blend it out and play with it. So my red will come up, down, and then these little flowers over here. I will also, with the Tuscan Red, shadow the deep areas. Let me make sure I'm on camera here for these little flowers. So the same shades of red, just kind of used in different ways. These would look really pretty as yellow also, if you wanted to do them yellow. Our cactuses, a lot of them have yellow flowers here in Wyoming, but I wanted to bring my red all the way through my page. Alright, so flowers, curtains, mushroom thingies are done, grass is done, cactus needs blended. Let's do a fish. So I'm going to pull my pastel colors for a fish, and here in Wyoming we have a lot of rainbow trout, and that's what we caught over the weekend when we went fishing. So I'm going to grab a pink, a light pink, my light green, so my pale sage, and a blue. Sky blue light or cloud blue works great. So I'm going to turn this again here. I'm going to make sure I got the fish fairly clean. And I'm also going to pull a Pentel Sparkle Pop. Now I don't have a whole set of these. These things are super expensive. I bought mine in clearance on a vacation out of town like 2 years ago, and I've been babying it ever since. But I'm going to put a little pink. Mine are going to be little rainbow trouts. Then I'm going to put, I'm actually going to go a little darker green. So I'm going to go apple green. Making sure that pink doesn't get lost. Okay, and then we're going to take cloud blue or sky blue light. I can't tell you which mine was. It's 1087, but it's a tiny pencil, so the name is long gone off of it. And I'm going to color the whole thing. What's left with this blue. I'm going to put a couple green lines here on the tail. Okay, and then I'm going to take that Pentel Sparkle Pop, and I'm going to do his little fins. And all the little lines for his gills. So he looks like a nice shiny fish. So they will all these little fish will be that kind of same look. So there he shines like a fishy. We're so close to finishing, we'll just go ahead and tackle. So this will be the same as over here. This I'm going to do red as well, so I will do poppy red, and then I will do brown pulls down. If you need to see my completed, it will be posted in my group and or Instagram. If you need me to post it on my community tab or anything like that, if you don't have social media, or you can request that too, and as soon as I get it done, I will pop it up there. I'm hoping to have it finished tonight, but we will see. Okay, so this is going to be apple green again. I'm going to base it with the apple green. I'm going to take a little bit of this cobalt turquoise and go down the center and do a couple lines out. I'm not going to do all of them. And then I think I'll go chartreuse as well for this seaweed. But I do want to base this stuff in apple green first, so it's not exactly the same as the seaweed on the building. Make sure I'm kind of visible here. So again, apple green, cobalt turquoise in a couple areas. And you can always add these in after you blend them too, but so that will be my seaweed. So I will use my brown to put the legs of this in. I know we're kind of bouncing around everywhere. I do this at the end of my pages. Just a little bit of everything that catches my eye that I need to finish. I will actually do the middle of this with my Sparkle Pop Gel pen as well. Okay, and then all we will have left to do is shade our ground, so you can do that however you wish. I'm going to pull that dark brown again, and I'm going to kind of shade out from my building, outward, up against these rocks, outward. Again, I have dark brown on these barrels, so I don't want to blend it too much right there. And I'm just going to kind of rough up some spots. If you want to make it muddy, that's up to you. Again, you could do a whole bunch of dots to make it look like the gravel, the aquarium gravel. That would be cool too. Okay, a little bit of goldenrod. Again, trying to work around the rocks a little bit. I'll come back and put some color on them separately. I am going to add a touch of burnt ochre, if I can find it, right here, just so that all this red dirt and things kind of come together as well in here. And there is a little few spikes of grass right here I'm going to go ahead and put in up against my saloon. And then when I feel like I have all the colors where I want them and all the gaps filled in nice and good, I will go back over with either goldenrod or in my case sand, because that was my lightest color, and blend it all out together. So I want to put my grass down first so I don't actually color it brown, have a bunch of brown grass, but however you want to work it. I just want to have a fair mix of colors going on. Especially over here. We don't want to forget between our bushes and things. Otherwise it's going to look like the ground just didn't variate or have any rocks by the bushes. Alright, so that is going to be our page. Let me pull out. So again, questions, comments, requests, anything like that, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this color along. This was a fun one and I am so happy with how it turned out. Keep an eye out for my finished page or completed pages. Those will be coming out soon as well too. I hope to see you for August's Mythographic of the Month Club. Thanks for watching. Bye.